Oh, by the way, I finally got caught up on that whole GameStock scandal. I don't understand what the scandal is. It's just kind of funny that the people who usually get fucked were the ones doing the bullshit. And then the rich guys shut the game down. That's what fucking blows my mind. And there's just no fucking... I mean, how many times do they have to show that this country is run by fucking a handful of fucking super rich people? How many fucking times? It's unfucking believable. I think people just don't want to fucking hear it. They just don't want to hear it. So this is what happened. I learned basically for the 9 millionth time what shorting a stock is. I had to look it up. I had to call Vinny Brand from the Stress Factory. I had to have him explain it. And then I had to watch some videos. So I think this is basically what shorting a stock is. All right. Oh, Billy's over his fucking pay grade on this one. Basically, for whatever reason, if you have stock, if you bought stock in something, for some reason, I can fucking borrow it and then go sell it to somebody else. All right? Like I can say like, hey, you got that stock there in the women's defibrillator there, right? Whatever the fuck that would be. Well, we found that the woman's heart is a little different than a male's heart. And over the last 20 years... anyways. So you got stock in women's defibrillation, right? It's going to be very layman terms here. All right? So let's say the stock is worth $10. I go, I want to borrow that. Okay? So that I'm allowed to borrow it, and then I can also go sell it. The only thing is however long you're letting me borrow it for, I have to give it back to you, and at which point you'll give me my $10 back, right? Women's defibrillation is trading at $10 a whack. Oh, God, I've never sounded dumber. So I borrow it from you at $10. Then I put it into the market. If I'm going to short the stock, I'm betting that the stock is going to go down because now I don't have it. I just sold it to somebody else, right? So they buy it at 10. So right now I broke even. So what I'm hoping it is the bottom's going to fall out of it so then I can buy it back for like $8. And then when I take it, and give it back to the guy I borrowed it from, he's giving me my $10 back, and I just made $2. Now, obviously, you multiply that time numerous shares, then you can actually make some decent money. So essentially what happened, obviously, the more money you have, two things it seems. You have a higher chance of making a fuckload of money shorting stocks, and then also because you can borrow so many and then dump them into the market, you can create this artificial look that this stock is plummeting. So then everybody else starts dumping their stocks, right? Which drives it down. And then what you do is, right where you see it starts to settle at the bottom, you go back in and buy whatever, the 10,000 shares that you paid $100,000 for. You then buy them back, all of them back for like 25 grand, and then you give it back to the guy and you just made 75 grand. Well, this was a game for fucking rich people. So evidently, a group of kids or something on Reddit somehow figured out that there was these big hedge funds with GameStop, which is a strip mall / mall store that sells video games, was going to go out of business. So they decided that they were going to short the stock. Now, I don't get how this works. Like, who the fuck doesn't know that they're going out of business? They sell video games. They're a brick and mortar store in a fucking strip mall or a mall. You would think that, yeah, your days are numbered, but whatever. So they fucking buy a bunch of this stock. They borrow a bunch of this stock to flood the market, to cause it to go down, and then they're going to short it, and they're going to buy it back and then give it back to people. They're basically going to profit off the fact that this thing is shit in the bed. So evidently, these kids on Reddit, what they did was when these rich guys flooded the market with it, was they bought it. And they bought up every bit of it that they could. And then because it was, even though it was being dumped, the fact that they were buying it gave it value. And then the price of it went through the fucking roof. It went from $8, I heard, up to $300 a share. So now these rich fuckos who probably, let's say, at $8 a share, bought 100,000 of them, right? So their buy-in was 800 grand. To get those 100 shares back, they now had to spend $30 million. And that's what I guess basically what happened. And a couple $1 billion was lost. And like super rich people's portfolios were going to be completely wiped out the way super rich people wipe out the savings of regular people and veterans all the fucking time during the stock market, right? They are so fucking rich. They said, no, stop. And they just shut it down. They just stopped the market. They hit freeze and said, you can't fucking do that. And I saw some guy. Now, listen, I need to read up way more on this. This is essentially what happened. And then this fucking guy goes, this was basically an attack on rich people. I loved it. I love the story. But I got to tell you, I also understand the concern about it. Okay? Because now what you have is, that was essentially the Me Too movement of the stock market, where they essentially, I don't know, can't even say exposed. People knew that was happening, but they basically were rising up against these people that had this control and who had done all this toxic, horrible stuff to other people. All right? If you believe that. You might say, well, it's capitalism. It's how it fucking works. It's not capitalism. It's an oligarchy, right? All the money's in the hands of a few fucking people. Come on, stop. But what I will say about this country is some fuckhead like me can't go out and tell some jokes and make some nice money that he then loses on a Bruins and Celtics game to the tune of, cigars, root beer, floats, and steaks. Anyway, what's crazy now is that's the first time regular people have all gotten together on, would you consider Reddit a social media site? I don't know what it is. I don't understand what Reddit is. Reddit is like people who like to type. It's like a giant chat room, right? I don't know. People with strong thumbs go on fucking Reddit. They got a lot to say out there. So this now has opened the door that just like, what's to stop some other group of people from doing this? So what I do love about it is now all these fucking rich people have to look over there. They get to feel what the fuck they've made everybody else feel. Over the last century in the goddamn stock market. So I do like that. But then also, just listening to the average fucking person when you walk down the goddamn street, especially during the whole pandemic here, you really understand why you need a small group of people running shit. Because there's so many mouth-breathing morons out there. So you combine that with the fucking stock market. This is going to be, this could get crazy. So we'll see what happens. But it's so blatantly fucking obvious that the market is like not even controlled by the governing body that's supposed to be controlled. It's the same thing as the president. The president is I've always said this. It's like when your flight is delayed, when you fucking yell at the person behind the ticket counter? That's what the president is. You never get to the owner of the airline. So I feel like the stock market is basically the same way. You got these fucking, which would make sense why we have not tried to embrace solar fucking power and different alternative forms of fucking energy, considering we've been under the thumb of these blue blood fucking oil companies and banks forever. Oh, I got it all figured out over here. But that's and that's what fucking blows my mind. And then when something like that happens, and it's like, well, there it is. There it is. They just shut off. They just fucking hit pause on the stock market. These hedge fund guys just fucking did that. Made a few phone calls. That was it, right? I didn't know you could do. There it is, right fucking there. They blow right by it. Doesn't fit the narrative. I know I got a lot of mistakes in that. I'm still reading up on it. But it wasn't bad. It wasn't bad for a guy that went to summer school a lot more than he didn't, right? Whatever. The worst case scenario, I made you feel smarter. Isn't that what you want? Isn't that why you're listening to this? Well, isn't it? All right. Where the fuck am I in all of this?